Okay, since what we had planned on Real Boxing Talk didn't work, we're going to try another way of going at Real Boxing Talk. Um, as you can tell, we are all discombobulated here, but we'll make it work. John and Charles are someplace on the screen. I have no idea, but we'll make it work some kind of way. Um, as we talked about last week, we were going to do something different this week, but we're gonna make it work some kind of way. As we talked about last week, what's going to happen when boxing comes back? And I think we kind of mined some of that, but there's more of it that can be done. We're looking at the pandemic being over, hopefully, in the near future, and we're looking at what we can do as far as, or what boxing can do for us. So I've heard a few things that are a little silly out there, Mike Tyson fighting the world and things of that nature, but we'll see where it goes. So when we look at what do we want from boxing now, not just the fights itself, but as we said, it's a blank slate. What do we want from boxing as far as the fans are concerned? Not just the fights, but what can boxing do for us? I know that's a weird question, but that's all I can think of right now. Anybody want to jump at that?
Whoever, if you want to go first, Charles, go ahead.
Sure, no problem. What can they do for the fans, and what can they do the casual observer? One, because the fans are not going to come back right away. I don't believe that. I think you're still going to be limited access in regards to until they figure out what's going on. So hell, we definitely reduce pay-per-views. That's out the box. You got to reduce the price to allow people to watch the fight, because that's how you're going to make your money. And I think that's key. The other thing too, as you mentioned, you got to come up with quality bouts. You have to, and you have to do it in a timely fashion. So let's say, for instance, if you have Fury, Wilder, whoever may, or even Lopez and help me, John.
Lomachenko.
Yeah, Lomachenko, right. If you have that, then we need to come right back with something else. Shakur Stevenson versus somebody. You need to, it's almost like bang, bang, bang. So that way, even if you take your time and you may not be getting all of the top-notch bouts, give the people something to make them feel like you care about them. And I think by doing that, even if that means without any fans, I think that's where you start. You start out with decent cards. You reduce the amount or the prices that people are going to have to pay to watch this, or you give them maybe a bundle. You know, the Zone can definitely do that. The Zone can definitely do that. Hell, I give you 5 fights for $20. Hell, people will be buying. They will buy into it, and the bonus is an exhibition of Mike Tyson. So, and you also can come on the show and host a half an hour, because we don't know what the hell we're doing. Anyway, that's fiction. I'm just kidding. I'm a jokester. Anyway, but to that effect, I think that you have to go about that way, because the fighters want to fight. I mean, we mentioned it was earlier. We're talking about now. Danny Garcia is supposed to face perhaps Earl Spence Jr., which is a good fight. So to build up on it, start there and work your way up, because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of fighters now, and maybe this whole pandemic is going to allow us as fans and media to finally get some of the fights we've been waiting on, because now it's like you have to improve, you have to impress the consumer. You can't take the consumer for granted anymore. And I think this might have been the best thing, one of the best things for boxing, because you're not going to be the only thing too. We got football, NFL is definitely going to be playing, basketball perhaps. There's going to be a lot of things clogged in together, and I think that these outlets, sports outlets, are going to be fighting for dollars. So,
and I think,
yeah.
and I think what you mentioned is in, as far as the bundle thing, I think that's a very good idea. If we're stuck with not having a fight or 2 fights or 3 fights or the place to put them in as far as on the calendar, let's make that card 4 championship fights, because these guys are itching to fight. Hey, if you're not in the stands anyway, just make it a day or make it 6 hours, and like you said, 6 hours for $39.99, and you get to see anywhere from lightweights to heavyweights to flyweights to whatever.
Yeah, and Frank, Charles, that's the way I've been thinking. We've been talking about this. This is a great opportunity for boxing. This sounds terrible because of the pandemic, but they could hit the reset button right here. They could say to themselves, okay, if we want to stand out, we got to do something spectacular. See, I'm a big believer, and you come out of the gate strong. You have a top-notch fight right away, and if that's Lopez and Lomachenko, that's on ESPN. Fine. If it's Joshua and Fury, because Wilder steps aside or whatever, great. But the only problem with this is I heard rumors that DAZN is in financial trouble. They're drowning. So I don't think they're going to. They might, but I doubt it. ESPN, Bob Arum, he's got more money than God, so he could probably figure out something that he could do, make it free for people, right?
Right.
But they got to do something. And the maddening part about this is I'm afraid they're not. They might have a good fight, but then they'll have nothing for a while. See, if I was in marketing with them right now, I'd be saying, look, this is the best opportunity we've had in years to bring boxing back up again, because we can show why boxing is so exciting. Yeah, Charles is right. We're going to be going against the NFL. Maybe baseball will be around a little bit. It's going to be a lot of competition, but people are going to, I mean, all of us, I can just feel it when the first fight we haven't seen, I'm going to be all excited again.
Right.
So let's have one that doesn't just excite the boxing nerds like us, but people that are peripheral. Let's have a big heavyweight fight. Here we go. This is going to happen, but let's have a doubleheader. Let's have Fury and Joshua and Lomachenko and Lopez same night.
Well,
I would pay for that. I would pay for that.
Go. That's automatic excitement right there. You know that Lomo and Lopez are going to be a good fight. You know Fury and Joshua, you don't know how good they're going to be. They might not be great fights, but they're going to be good. And the interest, Fury will promote the hell out of it. It's so simple, it's ridiculous. Will it happen? No. Well, but I'll be happy with just one big fight coming out of the gate. That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's do a triple header. Let's Shakur Stevenson at the entry bout against somebody.
Well, again, here's what we're talking
about. Against Josh Warrington. That'd be a hell of a fight.
Sure. Yeah. And again, here's what we're talking about. We want to make a splash. We want to come out and grab people by the throat, and we don't have all this calendar space to deal with. Now, you've got guys who've been off 6-8 months, some longer because they were off from before and expected to fight here in the spring and didn't get to fight. So you've got fighters who need to fight. You've got trainers who need to train. If we don't have people in the stands anyway, what difference does it make? Maybe you have them all in one time and then you split it up later and sell it that way. I don't know. But if you're going to do it in Vegas or you can do it in Arkansas. You can do it any place right now. It doesn't matter if they're not going to be in the fans in the seats. So get it out there. And I'm thinking if I'm the WBA or WBC or whoever, I want every title I have on the line in the next 2 weeks. Everybody. Get them all out there. Put them out there in 2 or 3 shows and go.
See, I'm thinking too, real fast, Frank, that if you do it in Vegas, you use the same idea that we were talking a few weeks ago about London. You have a big fight. You have the fight at the MGM Grand, and you do social distancing, and you have maybe, 5,000 people there. Then you put up a big freaking screen at the new place.
Right.
And you let people go in there for like $5. They can go in there and watch the fight right there on this enormous screen. You're going to get another 10 or 15. You might even get more. So you're going to lose money, but it's a great PR move for boxing. It's right there if they want to do it.
At this point, from our point, at least from my point of view, I could care less about if they make money or if they don't. Because if they don't do anything now, they're not going to make any money down the road.
That's
the thing. They're not going to make any money down the road, so they have to do something now and jump out and slap us in the face, say, let's go. And in my way of looking at it, you put as many fights on as you can at a time. That's what UFC does. They come out, if you have one headliner, you got 2 co-headliners, or wrestling or whatever. You know, Hulk Hogan fought, and so did somebody else, and Ric Flair, and this, and there was always somebody going on. You need to get them out there, and you need to get them visible again. Again, this is I hate to keep railing on the guy, the Gary Bettman moment. If you don't do it now, when do you do it? You've got to be the first one out of the box, because Dana White's not going to let it slide. You know, he's going to come out with something. Already has. So you need to go out there and you need to get it done right away. You need to have that in place right now. And it should be easier to put it in place than it is trying to coordinate an entire football league.
I'd even think about doing it on a Friday night and a Saturday night. You have like big fights on a Friday night, and then the next night you have one from LA and one from Vegas. big fights, championship fights on Friday night, and then you come right back with Saturday night, boom,
Yeah.
with more fights.
And as Charles said, the venue doesn't matter at this point. If
matter.
If you only fit 5 people in the stands, it doesn't matter. So just if you can get somebody in Jacksonville or Minneapolis or whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Get them out there and start them fighting.
It's like I said, it seems so easy, but
Yeah. Okay, so if we're looking at it, it seems so simple to us. What is the holdup, or what is the potential holdup? Charles, who's the sticking point here?
Well, it's a lot of it comes down to the fighters and the promoters. Who's available? Who wants to put it on the line? I mean, the promoters are like, they'll promote anything, but they're going to unearth anything possible to make sure that this is the only way that they can make money, because they don't want to lose money. So if there's no other way to do it, then they might have a sticking point. But that's where the fighters have to step up and go, look, we want to fight. We're going to make this money off of this anyway. Again, I hate to keep pointing back to Floyd's tactics, but Floyd had it best when he talked about pay-per-view. You don't need a bunch of people in the stands watching. This is not baseball. This is not the NFL. People just want to see the fight. It'd be nice to have it, but the people that have the real money are the ones that go and blow the money and tell you how great it was and lavish and had a great parties. But the average person is at home watching that on Fox or trying to get to somebody else's house. So those guys, ladies and gentlemen, are doing that anyway, and they want to see the fight. So let them see the fight. Reduce the price. That's how they do it anyway.
And I've got a point that goes back to our history. If we hadn't had a chance to hang out for 6-8 months or whatever, or 3 months or whatever, hadn't seen football, baseball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, boxing, anything, and they gave us the opportunity, okay, now you can go over to Charles' house. You can go sit on the couch and fall asleep. But we're going to give you the opportunity to have a fight, or fights, several, plural, for $39.99. Don't you know I would have come up with at least $19.99 and let you come up with the other $20 at that point?
Of course.
I would have come over, yeah. Well, that's how, and I wouldn't have brought any chips or nothing. But anyway, that's the point is, now you get all your people together that haven't had a chance to be together in the last 2 or 3 months. You give them a fight. You give them 6 hours of fights. Go get all the Molson Canadian you want. I don't care. And go do it. And you may not make a bundle off of that if you're doing pay-per-view, but you make something. And you get people going, man, I had a great time. I got to hang out with my boys. I got to see some great fights. I had some chips, had some barbecue. I'm good. And I think that will keep people coming back. And as John was saying, maybe you do that on a Friday, maybe you do it on a Saturday. Maybe you do it where you get it in the big screen. You relax the restrictions on what you can do in a restaurant or a sports bar. Yeah, show it at Buffalo Wild Wings. Why not?
Well,
Get people to come in.
I think part of it too, though, is it's all about whetting the appetite, right?
Right.
You got to whet the appetite, and to whet the appetite, when things happen, you got to give people something. As you said, you got to give them like a freebie. When you mess up somebody's clothes at the dry cleaners, you either got to replace what you messed up, or you got to give them free dry cleaning. You got to make the customer happy. And right now, boxing knows that, and the boxers want to fight. I believe the boxers want to fight because, again, time is forcing them to really look at themselves and say, where's my career? Now these guys are not young, which is why I think Errol Spence Jr. is like, man, I almost died. I'm still concerned about his teeth. I don't know how the hell he's going to fight with those teeth not coming out. But I think a lot of things have turned up in his life, and he's like, look, I can no longer, if I was playing the game, I got to fight these guys. So let's go, Danny Garcia. And I think you're seeing that a long way. Triple G, he has to be thinking, damn, I'm getting older. I got to fight this guy. And if I'm not going to fight him, I'm going to make some real money. I got to go somewhere else. All of these guys, time is running out. Tyson Fury, we can go down the line. Down the line. This pandemic is pushing that calendar even further. And it's making people maybe a little antsy, especially in boxing. But I think it's right now, you got to reward the people. They will come back, and you're going to make your money, okay?
Right.
You just have to write this year off, okay? It didn't work. But 2021, We're coming back strong. Come back in February. Come back in March, April. We know Cinco de Mayo. We know the whole nine. You're going to make your money next year. You almost have to see if this is a lost cause, but you still got to whet the appetite.
Right. John?
Yeah, yeah. And I was just going to say real fast, you got to think of it along the lines of it as an investment. Mm-hmm. You can't be thinking the first time you go in, you're going to make a bundle. You're not. You have to accept the fact that it's not about money this time. If you make a little, fine, but that's not the main priority. The main priority is you're laying the groundwork for the future. So you know you're going to make your money eventually. You got to be okay with, you can't be so greedy. I'm talking about the promoters and the fighters. If it's a little less money, it's more the promoters, I think. You got to say, okay, I might make a little less this time, but in 6 or 8 months or a year, I'm going to make more. I'm going to double what I made. I got to accept that and move on and give the people what they want this time. I hear a lot of them say, we want to give the fans what they want. Well, time to put up or shut up, buddy.
Right.
Put up or shut up. Here's your opportunity to do it. So do it. And if they do it, I think it's really going to help the sport.
Well, and John, you mentioned that right now the purveyors of what we have are, we don't have HBO boxing anymore. Okay. We have Showtime. We've got PBC, which I'm not really sure how we're supposed to see PBC. Is it mostly Fox? Is it kind of Fox? Sometimes I don't know that. But we mentioned DAZN. Now, John, if the rumors are true, they're having financial problems. How do we fix DAZN? Because that's something we should have. Now, I have a subscription, and to tell you the truth, I haven't got my $20 worth. Really, I mean, seriously. Now, maybe that's me, but I looked at the fights ahead and went, I've already seen these. You know, I know I'm not this. I'm more than a casual fan. But what can they do with DAZN, or what should they do with DAZN to get us back, to get everything going? Because you know, if it goes away, it goes away. But it shouldn't go away. It's a good idea.
The DAZN is in a really tough spot because this pandemic really hurt them, I think. Like I said, Bob Arum's probably got the first nickel he earned from 1962, so right. he's gonna be okay. The DAZN is new. They're a new company, and they invested a lot of money in what they're doing and their fighters and whatever. We'll leave the other things that we all have problems with. We were talking about production and stuff like that, which let's be blunt, sucks. We'll leave that alone. I'm just a jokester like Charles. I'm just kidding. but they're in trouble, and if I was them, I don't know. The rumors are they're really, really taking a bath, Frank. I mean, we're talking, you know, they need people that need multi-million investments right now to keep afloat. And you don't see them saying, look, to the subscriber like you and me, look, you haven't seen any live boxing in 3 months. We're going to send you your money back. You haven't noticed that? Even if it's not very much money, it would be a token thing like, I'm not giving you what you're paying for. All you're paying for nothing, in other words. So if you're paying for nothing, I should give you your money back, right? That would be a really good way to make, oh, that's pretty cool. They're not doing that. Nope. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what's going on with them. And the source that I saw this, I think is pretty reputable. So they have to have a big fight, but they're not going to, it's the same problem. They're going to not make any money. And they're going to probably want Canelo and Golovkin 3 because they're going to think, that's going to make them the most money. But Golovkin has been saying, no, I'm not going to fight Canelo first. He's got to fight with some unknown guy from Poland. Part of his contract, or he loses his title, so they'll strip him. So he has to pretty much take that fight. He wants to be a champion when he fights Canelo again. So that's out. Canelo is their baby. You know, he's DAZN's guy. So why don't we put Canelo in there with one of the guys we want to see? You know, against Andrade or Charlo or something like that. That would be good. And they're going to go, well, people don't know Charlo, oldest excuse in the world. Well, never heard of him, blah, blah, blah.
He's fighting
Forget
for PBC
all that.
And right.
Forget that. Because if Canelo wins, you want him to fight Golovkin next year, fine. But get him in with somebody that we want to see, make us happy. So DAZN is, but they can't just do that. They've got a lot of fighters under their banner. But if I was them, I would do just what you were talking about. I would do a double or triple bill. First fight's out. I would make a killing. I would try really hard to come out flying out of the box. I'd have Charles's dream fight. I'd have Leo Santa Cruz on that card. You know, I'd have him there.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. let's get out of here fast. And again, then they have to be patient. Hopefully, it's not as bad as it sounds, but doesn't sound good.
Well,
John, if you know, can I say one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
John, if you know somebody over in the marketing department, tell them to call me, man. I'm serious. I'm serious because it's all about, like you said, the boxers want you to more or less pay attention to them. They want to feel like they're catered to, right? So you can do that all through marketing. Seriously, you can do that all through marketing. You can say, hey, we got such and such coming in. We got this great fight. Here's what we're doing for you. I mean, it's just sad to see such an organization with so much potential, so much money, and when they provide you with the product, it's like it loses its luster.
Right.
It's like, wow, man. It's like, come on. I mean, and I think a lot of that, and no disrespect to them, it just comes down to having new ideas and going through a thought process.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think sometimes we try to change things with new ideas and be too innovative.
Mm.
A lot of times, like where we're at right now, no disrespect, and I know this is off topic, but you're trying to cure a virus or a pandemic, but there was viruses before. In the same way that there's issues with boxing and whatnot too, is looking back what worked before, going back to the old school, implementing old things that really cater to boxing fans and the boxing public in general. So then that they say, you know what, that's kind of cool, and doing it because you're gonna lose money anyway, right?
Right.
You're not gonna make any money. So as you guys said, you pay whatever you pay. You go look. Instead of saying we can't, basically they said we can't give you your money back, right? So what we're gonna do, since we can't give you your money back, we're gonna give you an extra year. The next year is free. The next year is free. Because we're not giving you to anything anyway right now. So your next year is free. We want you to stay with us. We're going to come back around. We already got your money. The next year is free. And when you think about that standpoint, people go, damn, okay, well,
or discounted or something, right?
At least you're doing something for me. Yeah, you at least buy me an ice cream,
Something.
Yeah. Right. Well, the thing about, and I think with them, is, and it again, great concept, great idea. Boxing channel, we're going to have boxing. We're going to show you all the boxing you want to see. And then we start seeing that they only have so many fights that you can see. Okay, well, this should go back. I'm thinking they're going to go back to the 60s or the 50s, and they've remastered stuff and all that. And I turn on and I'm like, I saw that fight last week. Okay. And I guess I'm supposed to wait for live fights. Okay, I signed up for live fights. Great. But am I going to get the live fights for free, or I got to pay the zone pay-per-view for that? Who knows what's going on? But the thing about the whole thing is, just like we said, all of them, I was thinking for some reason of football, professional football. From the AFL to the USFL to the World League to what was the one that all the Dolphins jumped to back in the mid-70s? Was that the WFL? Anyway, you've got, each time they tried to make it different or better or weird or spring football or whatever, the NFL said, nah. We might absorb you, we might do this, we might squash you. I don't know. But the thing here with boxing is they all are, for the most part, equal, if you want to call it that. You have all these warring factions that are all going to lose if they don't start working together. So somebody needs to put all these people in one room or one conference call or something and go, look, the zone, good idea. Good idea. I tell you what, to keep you afloat, we're going to give you the rights to CBS Sports Spectacular back in the 80s. Wide World of Sports back in the 70s. Okay, we're going to help you out. There's something there. PBC, all right, we're going to work with Bob Arum. We're going to put on great cards right away. They can be co-promoted. I don't care. We don't care who's doing it. Let's get them out there. Showtime. They can do the same thing. WBA, WBC, all you people, you need to get yourselves in one room and go, wait a second. We got 4 title holders, 5 title holders in a weight class that's 3 pounds greater than the weight class below it. What are we doing? Okay, we've watered down the product, we've watered down the champions, and now people aren't sure what they want to see. Now, we've talked about this 13,000 times. I get that. But this is a time to orchestrate change. And I think if they all work together, and we don't need one ringleader, but we can split it up again later. But they've got to come out in unison here, some kind of way. We're going to use Vegas or Barclays or Pepsi Center and wherever. We're going to use that for this particular thing. That's what we're doing with NHL and presumably everybody else. We're going to play all the games in one spot or in two hubs or whatever. Boxing can do the same thing. And since we're not going to have fans or we're not going to have a lot of fans, it doesn't matter where it is. And, John, I think your idea is a good idea. All right, this week is going to be Boxing Week. We're going to put on all the shows, put on everything, and maybe we release a show every day. Or maybe we do a bout on Monday, on Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then we put it in the bank and re-release it a few days later.
Why not?
Yeah.
Tuesday night fights. Bring it back.
Right.
The zone.
Yeah.
Tuesday night
Why
fights.
not?
I'm trying to tell you right now, you have enough people in the damn stable put out Tuesday night fights, make it free for the rest of the year or whatever, and let people watch these guys fight.
I don't think you have
It's all there. It's all there right in front of them. But you got big egos, you got greed. Mostly, you got big egos. And if they're going to work together, they got to put those big egos aside. Because these promoters, all they like to do is rip each other, pretty much.
Right.
You'd have to get Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum to decide and agree, and Oscar De La Hoya, obviously, to get in a room and say, okay, what we got to do is we got to think what's best for boxing. Not us.
Right.
Us will come later.
Right.
This is what we got to do for boxing. And Steve Charles is right. We got to form a marketing company right now because this is there for the taking to just blast off, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to get it going. You could do it if you got a little ambition and a little creativity. It wouldn't take anything. That's what I mean. As tragic as this has been in our country and internationally, I should say, the pandemic, going back selfishly to sports and especially to boxing, this could really help the sport in the long run as far as trying to build itself back up, where nowadays it's just kind of an afterthought until there's a big heavyweight fight mostly. Bring it back up in importance, but there's a way you got to do it. And again, it's right there for the taking. But again, can you put aside all these massive egos? I'm afraid I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, but I'm afraid they have to, because if you don't come back, or if they don't come back, I'm sorry, with something quickly, when it's time to come back, there may be nothing to come back to. So what are you holding on to, Bob Arum? What are you holding on to, Golden Boy? What are you holding on to?
I know this.
Go ahead.
Not to cut you off. I know
That's
this.
Right.
I think what you're going to see now is you're going to see the power of the fighters, okay? And like I said to you before, guys are getting older. Terrence Crawford knows he's not 12 years old anymore. In order for him to start making some fights, and with this layoff, he's going to have to fight some important people. And that might mean early on you fight without fans.
Right.
So I think they're going to have to force the promoter's hands. So, no matter how much money Bob Arum has, he works for the fighter. And if Terrence Crawford says, I want to fight somebody, that's who it's going to be. Same way with Oscar De La Hoya. Even though he may not be the best of friends with Canelo said, I'm ready to go, he's going to have to do it. Because if not, they will work through the contract, get out, same way Floyd did Bob Arum. They're at the mercy of the fighters. And I think you're going to see more fighters going, hey, man, let's stop the BS, because you're hurting us on two ends. You're hurting on my image and my fans, and you also, as you mentioned, John, they're going to be hurting the future revenue of the fighters.
Right. Well,
no, that's a great point. I'm sorry, Frank. This is just a little short point. Supposedly, the first fights are June 9th that Arum is putting together, and there's not going to be anybody in the stands, obviously. But that's a good start. That at least that's a start. Shows that boxing is coming back. I haven't heard anything confirmed that it's a go. I keep seeing that date, June 9th. But they have to do something. You're right. And that's a great point, Charles, because the fighters usually as we know, they capitulate to the promoter. They'll say, I want this, and then the promoter say, no, we're going to do this first and this first. Wouldn't it be great if Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, especially Crawford, said to Bob Arum, no, we're going to fight. I'm going to fight Errol Spence because I'm tired of talking about it.
Right.
Now, I did read that Teofimo Lopez Jr. and Lomachenko, Arum said, I want you guys to have a couple of tune-ups before you fight, and both of them said, nope.
Hell with that.
We're going. We want to fight, and Arum said, okay. So that might be a sign right there that you might be able to, for once, push those little fat guys and those money grubbers out of the way a little bit and let the fighters fight, because that's what it's supposed to be about.
Well, it was a conversation I was having with someone about the Olympics, and they kind of went offhanded, yeah, well, they just have to postpone for a year. We know that athletes have a short shelf life. Promoters can be in their prime for 30 years, or 50 years, or 100 years if it's Bob Arum. Athletes have a prime. They have when they're at their peak, when they're getting to that peak, and when they're going down. And the thing about the Olympics, well, it's just a year. Yeah, how many people were not good the next year or hadn't gotten to that point when that year came? That's the beauty of the Olympics. It's every 4 years. Not always the best are there because they missed their shot just because of the calendar, But here's where you have a fighter like, say, a Lomachenko or one of those guys where, okay, we're getting a little age on us. My game is built on quickness, on those kind of things. If I lose a step, I lose an inch, I lose this. You're taking my prime years away from me. Now, understanding that this has been taken away for something bigger than sport. But when sport comes back, don't delay them another 6, 8 months, 2, 3 years, or however, because, like you said, now you fought a tune-up here and you fought a tune-up there, and then by the time I get to the big fight, I'm not there anymore. And we're taking away livelihood, we're taking away professional reputation, future revenue, all these things. If you lose to somebody you shouldn't lose to because you fought them a year after you were at your prime, no commentary jobs for you, no commercials. What, does Campbell soup? No soup for you. I mean, a lot of things will change. So, again, like you said, get the guys with the egos out of the way. Let's go play the game, get it done. And like we said, we've all said it. It doesn't seem like it's that hard of a thing to do. But yet, it's going to be a hard thing to do. It seems like just get the egos out of the way and go. I'm going to repeat that another 16 times until someone actually figures it out.
Well, Frank, real quick, it's that word they love, promoters, marinate. They love that word. That frickin' word is gone now. You don't marinate now.
Right, you can't.
Forget it. It's over. Get real. Do what you should do here. The fighters want it. Let them fight. I mean, don't think, well, if Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight each other, there's nothing left. Bullcrap. The winner fights Danny Garcia. The winner fights Keith Thurman. The winner fights Sean Porter. The loser fights Keith Thurman.
Right.
You got all kinds of things you can do. Just don't be short-sighted. The welterweight division is loaded with talent. The Charlo brothers are there in the junior middleweight. Now they're in the middleweights. You got all these fights, and these guys are just sitting here on the sidelines.
Wouldn't you love to be? Wouldn't you love to be the guy that beats Jermell Charlo this month, and then Jermall Charlo next month, or 3 months down the road? Like, yeah, I'm tired of talking about them. I'll take them both on. Put it in the contract. I'm going to beat one, then I'm going to beat the other. Boom,
and
over with, done.
And Andre.
Well, sure. Get Andre to shot.
Yeah. And as Charles
and
Charles mentioned 4 or 5 episodes ago about a tournament. This would be a great time for a tournament. Several tournaments, and that's what you say. Okay, we've got the cruiserweight, middleweight, lightweight tournament, and let's go strawweight. Okay, all 4 on this card here on the Zone on Monday, then on PBC next Tuesday, and then the round robin just keeps going. and you make it like a boxing league, basically. And it
Right.
doesn't all have to be on one network or on one show. Showtime gets a look. ESPN gets a look. Everyone gets one night, and you say, everyone clear off Tuesday, like you said, Tuesday night fights. Everyone clear off Tuesday for the next 2 months. We'll have Tuesday night fights. You get one on, ESPN gets the first Tuesday of the month. DAZN gets the second Tuesday of the month, and just go from there. That's your calendar right there.
Frank, DAZN might be willing to try anything because they're, if it's true, they're hurting. Hope it's not true. But Tuesday night fights, Thursday night fights, Friday night fights, go for it. This is the best time to try something different, and that's what frustrates me, you guys, is that they seem to fall back into this old way of thinking, and this is a whole new thing we're looking at now. So now is the time. You're going to have to show some balls here. You're going to have to show you got a pair and go out there and see. That's wrong. I don't really think you need to. This is just, it's right there in front of you. Take it. Go for it.
Right.
Okay,
Dylan
go ahead, Charles.
Dylan White versus the guy that beat Joshua.
Oh, Ruiz? Andy Ruiz?
Yeah. And then Ortiz versus somebody.
Packer. You've got all kinds of guys, right?
Joseph Parker. Get Joseph Parker a fight. He's good. It's
Parker
all there.
Right. Joseph Parker versus Ortiz.
And, yeah.
Kowanaki or whatever his name was. Get him back in the mix.
He's
Adam
got knocked
Kowanaki,
out,
yeah, get him back in the mix. One knockout, okay, but get him back in the mix. Now I'm going to ask. Go ahead, Charles.
I said to me, that's how you get started. Okay, that doesn't hurt anybody. Those guys want to fight. When you tell them you win this fight in this tournament coming up, this opens the door for the high upper echelon, the higher level guys. Like I said, I bet you Ortiz will fight tomorrow. Nobody wants Ortiz.
No one wants to fight him tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and Wilder beat him the way he did, but I think you got some hungry guys out there. What you were going to say, Frank?
Well, no, continue with that.
No, I'm just saying that I think this is an opportunity to maybe grab with some guys that may not be they may not be the champions. They may not be the number one contender or the number two contender, but they're right in that mix. So we're talking about 3 to 7, 3 to 8, right? Something like that, where you put them together and you open them up on Tuesday night fights. And you just keep going that throughout the year to see just kind of two things. You're clearing out the division, right? You're bringing some normalcy back to it. And now you're putting them together fights that people want to see as you're building up to the next fight. That's how you do it. And then in the same token, you're preparing the top level fighters to be like the dessert at the end, because we've been building up for so long. So that gives the Canelo versus Triple G opportunity to get together. It gives Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence somewhere to go. It just gives so many different fighters. And then two, if you know that you got a shot at the title, let's say Canelo says, I'm going to beat Triple G, and then I'm going to see who the next fighter is. But then if I will fight after I beat Triple G. My next fight will be the winner of Andre Charlo. I'm going to fight that guy. Whoever wins this fight, come see me.
I'm going to take him, right. Yeah.
See, let me throw this in. See, that's a great idea. And you have that fight, Andre and Charlo, underneath the Golovkin
yes.
Right. Exactly.
Canelo fight. It's
right.
like they used to do it 50 years ago. That fight is called an eliminator.
Right.
So whoever wins that fight fights Canelo or Golovkin. And it's set up perfect. It happens on the same night.
And you don't even have to have it in the same place. It can be a co-headline. Right. You can have one in Prague and the other one in Saskatchewan. It doesn't matter right now.
Right.
Right.
It's an eliminator.
Right.
And at least it's legit too, because otherwise they try to fool you. And I was at the Calvez Jr. versus Canelo fight, which I knew was a sham, and I went anyway. And then you roll out Triple G right after that. Now you talk about some bogus BS.
That was.
But at least the other way, we know now that, okay, you roll the guys out, it's legit, because they don't want to lose.
Okay.
Chavez just never wanted to fight.
Not those guys. Not Andre. Not Charlo. They don't want to lose.
Now, unfortunately, since we had some technical unpleasantness, we're running a little bit long today. So we're and others of us have things we have to do. So we're gonna wrap this up here in a second. But I'm gonna ask this question. We still have a few minutes. I'm gonna ask this question. When you're watching a fight, live, pay-per-view, on ESPN or whatever, ask yourself this question. Do you care if it's Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr.? Do you care if it's Jim Lampley or Joe Tessitore? Do you care if it's Lennox Lewis or Larry Merchant or whomever? They provide something to the fight, yes. But do you care who the ancillary part of it is? Or do you care that this fight is being broadcast? John?
Depends. If you're talking about commentary, I have opinions who I think are very good at it, like Joe Goosen. I think he's excellent. Nobody even barely knows him, has probably heard him. I thought Virgil Hunter was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
He brings a cerebral intelligence into it. I always liked Paulie Malignaggi, what he brought into it. So that part, a little bit. As far as Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon, they're both great. So you could have either of them, as far as I'm concerned. Really nice guys too. Other guys, I like Lupe Contreras too. I like him when he does it. Continuing our fight card, he's great. He's old-fashioned, so I love that. So it matters a little, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it if that's what you're asking me, Frank. I like them, but a lot of times I turn the volume down. I don't even listen. That sounds arrogant, but it isn't meant that way, because it just depends who it is. But it's one of these.
Yeah, okay.
It's not really that important. But if I see it's a Joe Goosen or whatever, I go, I'm going to leave the volume up here, because he brings a lot to what he's talking about. Andre Ward, too, who always brings a cerebral approach to things, and it adds to it.
Charles?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters that much to me. It would be cool. Sometimes certain people, you just kind of, I think that was my issue for a long time with HBO. They became more one-sided, their commentaries, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because, you could tell after, if Floyd Mayweather wasn't on their with their brand anymore, they always found something negative to say. And I'm like, well, even if you don't like him, then you don't want to put him in your top 10. It has nothing to do with how you feel.
Yeah.
We're talking about the athlete, who's pound for pound the best person or whatever, but it seems a little jaded. So all I want them to be, whoever's going to be on there, to be fair. Okay? That's all I want them to be. There are some unique guys that you want. Like I said, I like what John said. I do like Andre Ward because he's kind of new to it. But my problem part of it is that sometimes you have two fighters on there, and they might be giving commentary, and then you'll listen to a fighter. I'm not going to say any names, but it's almost as if he's never boxed before.
Right.
I'm like, damn. Is that like Magic Johnson coaching basketball? You have to be in the ring to really you cannot express your opinion truthfully or even the right way to fans. And maybe that's what it is, but I'm just kind of blown away. But yet you'll penalize Teddy Atlas for telling you the truth.
Right.
And he can be over the top, but if he's telling you this is effing garbage.
Yeah, I like Teddy too.
He's telling you there's no way in hell Pacquiao's losing this fight because the guy's headbutting him and fouling the whole time. And then people are like, and then the networks get down on you. But then again, I don't know, it's just weird. You just see things happen that way, and no matter what you see, and I'm still blown away by certain calls and certain people, because I'm still blown away by people saying De La Hoya was almost beating Floyd. I'm like, are you serious? I'm at that fight live because you holding and tussling and moving and punching on the hold like that. That's not boxing. But I think the other thing too is this would be a great time to go back and whoever it is, Teddy Atlas, whoever, to teach or even one of the boxers to show what is a legitimate scoring in boxing. They should do that for fans. So when you hold somebody and punch them in the head and in the ribs, that's not scoring points. That's not part of. That's not when the judges are looking at it. That should not get you points because you're saying you're busy when other guys covering up, and when you're using your elbow to elbow the guy in the head. They should go back and shoot legitimate ways to score in boxing.
Okay, two things on what you both just said. On the second part that you said, if we didn't have the technical aspects that we had, we would have had an actual judge showing you how he scored this fight. So that was part of the tape. So yes, that was part of. I'm a step ahead of you there.
Good
we had,
segue.
we had
But you
Max.
did no, look. So
No,
you
shut up.
You did not.
Yeah, it's on the tape. It just didn't run. Okay, but the first part the reason I asked
Roll the
that
tape.
question.
Oh, roll the tape, Frank.
Cue the tape. Oh, it's not working. Oh hell. All right, but the reason I asked that question, yes, I like to hear Emmanuel Stewart when he was doing fights when he was alive. Yes, I like to hear Teddy Atlas. Yes, there are a lot of guys I like to hear. I like the way Jim Lampley called a fight. I know other people didn't. I like the way he called a fight. Not always, but when he was just calling the fight. Okay. Anyway, point being, whether it was on Showtime, whether it was on HBO, whether it was on ESPN, whether it was on Nickelodeon, I want to see the fight. And part of this wrangling is we have to make sure that we have our brand, our logos, our design, all this. Tecate, Modelo, whoever. Just give me the damn fight. And that's where we're at right now. Let's get rid of all this other crap. Split up who you want doing the fights, how you want. I don't care at this point. Just give me the damn fight. You can do all that next year. 2021, you can start splitting stuff up again. But right now, they all need to come together. And I don't care who's calling the fight. I don't care who's announcing the fight. I don't care who's promoting the fight. They need to come together and say, if we don't do this right, we're not going to have 2021. If we don't do this right, we may not have boxing. Again, Charles, you and I have had this conversation any number of times. Is boxing dying? Well, I don't really think that it was. I don't think that it is now. But there's a chance where we may skip a beat and we may be on life support before we know it if they don't come out and do this the right way. So that being said, I'll show the tape where we had the judge on this later. Thanks, guys. Like I said, we figured out all the technical issues and we caused some more. So we'll come back. We'll come back next week and maybe we'll be able to do that. The fight that we were planning on covering. Hopefully, I'll get that figured out by then. And other things are going to work itself out because, hey, people's neighborhoods are opening up. We're starting to see a little bit of life in the sports world. Maybe they'll get their BS together and figure it out.
Okay. Stay well, everybody. Yeah, stay well.
Yep.
No doubt.
Okay.
Keep working on the skills, Frank.
Oh, shit.